Hello, welcome back. So as you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about my DNF list. Did not finish, if you didn't know, because I didn't know for a long time. I thought it was like swear words or something, like did not, no spice in the book or something. You know, that's what Google's for. You Google it and find out the information. My list is pretty short. And I do have them on display, so when I finish the series that I'm reading right now, the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, I will hopefully read these. I didn't necessarily stop reading them because I didn't like them. It was more, it just wasn't the right time while I was reading these books, which I'll tell you when I start talking about them. I know this is a bit different from the regular content that I post, mostly about makeup for the everyday person and just easy beauty routines. But I also really love books and like makeup kind of in my everyday life. I don't necessarily have a lot of people to talk about these subjects with. And I think it would be really cool to create a bit of a community around it and share books. The last book video I did, which I will link, was about the Sarah J. Maas universe and books that I'd recommend after that. And I had a lovely viewer comment and tell me what books that they liked to read. And so now I also am getting a is it to be read? Yeah, TBR, my to be read list. I want to reread some books this year, but I am really enjoying the Brandon Sanderson books right now, the Mistborn trilogy. I'm just on book 1. It's so good. I'm very excited because it took me like 200 pages to get into it, but I think that's where I kind of went off with these. So anyways, let's get right into it. If you're new here, I'm Catherine. I'm just been a long time YouTube viewer and I'm trying it out for myself now. Like I'm one, you know, when you comment on someone's TikTok or Instagram and you never get comments back, or on YouTube, and it just feels like you're throwing yourself and your opinions a bit into a void. I don't want that here. I want the time taken to interact with people kindly. Let's get into it. So the first book is Priory of the Orange Tree, which is by Samantha Shannon. Obviously a beast of a book. A lot of people on the internet were saying how the margins are very big, and the writing's quite large, so that makes for a bigger book. The reason why I grabbed it was it was getting really popular on TikTok and Instagram. It's fantasy, more centered around women, which is really exciting, because a lot of times, you know, royals and all that, it's always about like the men, the kings, and producing a male heir and all this. Well, this is like the opposite. One of the characters' name is Iad, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, and she's like part of a loyal hidden society of mages, keeps a watchful eye on the queen, secretly protecting her from forbidden magic. There's dragons, which I haven't read a lot of books with dragons in it, so I'm getting, like, I don't feel burnt out by it. I know it became a big thing with Game of Thrones. Fourth Wing is a big dragon book. Actually, Throne of Glass, the character who had, they don't call them dragons. What do they call them? I forget. I will put it on the screen somewhere. So yeah, I think this will be one of the first ones I reread. Again, it's one of those things where you have to get into it. There's a lot of building in the beginning and you're just learning about the characters, so there's not like this attachment to them yet where you really care what's going to happen to them. It's going to take a little while, a little more getting into it to care where the plot's going, I guess. And it was last year or the year before, the author came out with a prequel to this book. It's just as hefty. It's a beautiful cover as well. Yeah, like just look at the spine, it's so nice. And I love fantasy, so it'll be nice to get into a different writer's world building again, because I have read a lot of Sarah J. Maas and it is kind of similar, so it's just, you know, different magic systems, different worlds, different creatures. I'm excited. You know, it's interesting how dusty books can get. I did not realize, and not even like, you know, in the pages it gets very dusty. I also have a cat, so that doesn't help. So Atomic Habits, oh my god, everyone's heard of this book. Where does it say? It's like over 6 million copies sold. Yeah, we're gonna take that off. Okay, we'll take that off later. I bought this when I thought I was ready for some new habits. And I do like these type of books, self-help books. I do find them inspiring and a great way to, you know, help motivate you or learn some new habits or mindsets, daily routines, stuff like that. But I've, to be honest, have struggled with day-to-day habits. I think I like a little bit more of the spontaneity in life, but that's not, like, I didn't read enough of this book, as you can see. Actually, I did read quite a bit. I read a third. I do think I need some help with my habits in my life, even though they're not my favorite thing to build. I like hobbies, and hobbies can almost be habits. I need a better like morning and bedtime routine. I like getting up, and I'm pretty sure he talks about morning routines in here. The one thing I do, wow, really getting off topic, but the one habit builder I thought was really interesting is that you should like couple your habit with something you already do. Like if you're trying to introduce something, so you know, you already brush your teeth, flossing your teeth, you have to couple it with that. That's maybe not the best example. I'm actually trying to take a little bit better care of my teeth. I've been really bad with flossing my teeth. I'm getting a little better at that. So you gotta celebrate the small wins, okay? Because no one else will celebrate them for you. I do think this book will be helpful, and I would like to get through it because I did buy it. Yeah, I'm sure it was on discount. I don't think I paid $36 for this. Books are expensive. Ready for the dust? This might be a little random for a 29-year-old to buy, but The House of Pooh Corner, it's a Winnie the Pooh book. I didn't realize Winnie the Pooh had such long books, but you know, there are some pictures. I took a course last September in 2023 about helping finding your career. Have I found my career yet? No. Maybe one day. I had a guest speaker who was talking about conflict and conflict resolution and how conflict is actually a good thing even if it's dealt with properly, rather than a lot of people, you know, see conflict as bad and everything should always be harmonious or whatever. So we were talking about that, and someone asked maybe I asked, I don't remember. It was one of those things where it's just like you hear someone talk about a specific topic and they're just such a great speaker and they make you feel like the world's okay and you can do all these things, and anyways, it just felt so good. So I bought this. Getting back on track, someone asked what would be a good books to like read more about the topic of like conflict resolution, and he said that the best book he's ever read about conflict resolution and like the perfect example, this book. It's also like a really beautiful cover. There's really nice illustrations in it. It is a kid book, so it's, you know, when was this written? 6th printing? No. This is copyright in 1928. Winnie the Pooh's not that old, is it? So because it's kind of kiddie, I did drop off on reading it, but I will finish it because it's not very big, and I wanna know what this conflict resolution is that he was talking about. And I used to love Winnie the Pooh as a kid. I mean, come on, that theme song. More dust. That's a fun bookmark. Okay. So, Taylor Jenkins Reid. She's written Daisy Jones and the Six, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, quite a few, Malibu Rising, Carrie Soto is back, quite a few, and some, I think she has some earlier books as well that are quite good. Obviously, this isn't fantasy, this is like real world fiction. Her other books, she always just writes about characters who are the best of the best. And they're so amazing. They're the top of the world, the pinnacle of media and fame and fortune. Like after reading Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones of the Six, I just found it kind of exhausted in this book. It's like, I'm kind of tired of reading everyone who's the best of the best, you know? I've never read a sports book before either, so I don't know. I found it a little boring. I would like to finish it. I'm like halfway through. I don't know, just take a couple weeks and really dedicate some time every day to reading it. I bought this for a trip in 2023. And yeah, it's kind of like Well, again, with Sarah J. Maas, these main characters get written who can just do like everything, and they're unstoppable, and they've, you know, there's little tweaks here and there of why they're not the best or whatever, but sometimes it's just too much. And I find it makes me kind of roll my eyes at the characters and their choices. I don't find Carrie is very likable from what I remember. I haven't read this for a long time, but I do have to like a character to get into the book, or there has to be really good supporting characters for me to get into the book. And that's why this is a little bit of a meh. I gotta finish it. Like, I do. So I think this goes to show how like my reading style has changed as well. As before, I used to read a lot, like I didn't read fantasy a lot, and now it's all I read. But this one, Pachinko, I spilt coffee cream or something on it when I took it to work, so it's a little nasty. It doesn't smell. I'm not that nasty. So I did really like this book. It's a historical fiction book, right? I got this book because another YouTuber on here, Alana Davison, was raving about it, and I usually really like her recommendations. I did like this book, but it's sad. You know, it's based in Korea when Japan has invaded, and so it's like war torn. I believe it starts before the Second World War. Yeah, so it says book 1, 1910 to 1933. So it's a very turbulent time in history. Maybe one that I didn't know so much about as well. Like, I would say I wasn't taught a lot about, in school, Korea and Japan invading Korea, so it definitely sparks me to go investigate that more in the actual history. But it was a little sad, and at the time, like, I need some happier books, some books that like make me feel a little excitement and, you know, like adventure and fantasy and romance. There's romance in here, but then, you know, it kind of breaks your heart again. So I will definitely be rereading this though, because it is a good book. It's written really well. I'm excited to reread it, or to read it. I don't think I got very far. If you've been thinking about reading this and you have the mental capacity to read this, I would read it. Okay, the last one. So we have Glennon Doyle. Glennon, right? So this was so popular when it came out. When did this come out? When were you published? 2020. The world was not great in 2020. When I heard about this book, it was like, oh, female empowerment, how to be more like your authentic self, being untamed. I got really excited about that. Maybe this would have been better to read in like 2019, but 2020, what was happening in the world made this feel, it just made this feel, is arbitrary the word? It made it small, and it made it kind of hard to read about her complaints. And as someone who didn't know who Glennon Doyle was, it was almost like, why should I care about you and your struggles in life pre-pandemic, when what are we all going through now? I guess that would be my kind of anger with stopping it. But oh my god, isn't this the most beautiful cover you've ever seen? I would like to reread it because I really like Brene Brown. She's like, Glennon is church. Her humor, warmth, and honesty are profound reminders that there is beauty in our struggle. Not a big fan of Oprah, so I won't read hers. Yeah, empowering, feminist, badass, candid, brave, and generous. So I might reread this, but I might also just give it away. I don't know. I got a lot of other books first. Like, this isn't first on the list. I would say it's probably Finishing Mistborn. And if I really Finishing Mistborn, Priory of the Orange Tree, Winnie the Pooh, Pachinko, Atomic maybe Atomic Habits, then Pachinko. And then maybe like Carrie Soto is back in this one, or I don't know if I'll finish or not. They might just go away. But yeah, those are like just a few books. I'm not like a lot of other book talkers where they get sent books. I definitely have to purchase them myself. I want to utilize the library more, and read the books that I gave up on maybe a bit too early. Like with a lot of things with TikTok and, you know, YouTube, Instagram, it's so consumption based, and not going through your products is, whether it's makeup, skincare, books, it just creates more waste, and I don't want to promote that. So yeah, I have a rule. I need to finish 2 lip glosses before I buy myself another one. I have to finish my foundation before I buy another one, and that might be very obvious to some people. I enjoy makeup and books, and sometimes you want something that's gonna you really enjoy, and to use something new, and I'm trying to get out of that habit. It's kind of hard to know if I'll keep doing these videos because I think YouTube algorithm gets a bit confused when you go out of your niche too much, but I do like beauty lifestyle. We'll see. I don't do enough of things to do vlogs yet. I could do a cleaning vlog. That'd be way too random and a little boring. Do you have a TBR list or DNF list? What's some books that you just kind of gave up on but are interested in revisiting? Or tell me like your least favorite book. What was a book that you read and you're like, why are people talking about this? This makes me so angry. And we'll just, you know, it doesn't have to be mean. Not in a mean-spirited way, but just in a, this wasn't my type of book. I think that's Carrie Soto is back for me. Anyways, I hope you had a great week and the weekend coming up. Spring is in the air. There's going to be a lot more videos about that coming up. So see you next time.